What's good, y'all? It's Solution back at it with another mental gym video in which I give you guys mental exercises you can use to become extremely successful and accomplish all the goals that you are after. So let's get right into it. So today, for today's mental exercise, that is punctuality. And the definition I came up with for punctuality in the context of achieving your goals is always being early to anything that helps you achieve your goals. So you're probably thinking, okay, Solution, why should I be early to things that help me achieve my goals? Whatever activities or things you have to show up to at a certain time to be able to do for whatever form of goal achievement that you are on right now, right? You're like, okay, why is this important? Or why is this important? So there's three main things that I see why being punctual can go a really long way for you before I get into mental exercise, right? And that is info. Come on, marker. So info, prep, and respect. So the thing with being punctual and why I believe it is very important and how I've learned in my own life that it's very important is when you are an early bird, when you are early to something that will help you achieve your goals, you get these three benefits. The first being info. What do I mean by info? You gather information and awareness about the environment that you're in that you otherwise wouldn't get to see if you were on time, or even worse, hope you guys aren't doing this, are late to something, right? Because when you first arrive to an environment, you get to clock everything. You get to see everything. You're like, okay, this is here, this is there, this is over there, this is over there, this must mean this. Like, you can already start gathering information to put yourself in a good position when you start doing the activity or when the activity starts, because you've clocked all this information that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get if you just arrived on time and you have to jump right into whatever you have to do, right? And info kind of goes into prep in this way. So essentially, what I do mean more by prep, because the info section of this, or the info benefit, is more like you're just gathering information, gathering awareness about what is around you. But prep in particular is you have more time to prepare for whatever you're going to do. If you show up early to something, you could practice whatever you need to practice, make sure you feel good, arms, whatever, for whatever goal you're trying to achieve. You can make sure you are set. You're ready to go. You do a couple more reps, whatever you need to do in whatever space you can do it in, just to make sure you are warmed up and good to go. So when it's time to perform, you perform, right? And then last but not least, and this is a really big but underrated one, and it's like a something you can't see but could go a long way for you in the long run. When people see that you show up early to things, they will give you respect. You have probably heard from many successful people from all the success type content you have ever seen of how really successful people, it tends to be a trend. They like to show up early to things. And when people talk about them, they love to talk about, oh, I remember he used to always show up early. He used to always show up early. You see what I'm saying? And they respect that kind of behavior. Why? Because that behavior shows desire, shows care. And people like people who care. When you show that you care about what you do, people respect that. And they're more willing to be like, okay, I know this guy cares about this. So I am more willing to be like, hey, here's insert benefit, right? Or insert in this sentence, I'm saying, insert benefit that I want to give you because I know you're a guy who cares about this thing. Whereas when you just show up on time, you're just like everyone else. No one can perceive anything special about you. So they'd be like, okay, you're just another run of the mill guy who's kind of just showing up, going through the motions, or just doing what you need to do and then leaving. But when they see that you're always showing up early, you're always early, they're like, okay, this is a guy who's dedicated. This is a guy who cares. And I'm going to make sure to come correct with him. I'm going to make sure to show him that kind of respect and candor because I know that he cares about what he's doing. And also, I'll be more willing to help him when he needs it. Because I know if this guy asks for something, right, I know he cares about what he's doing. So I'd be more willing to help him. Because if somebody who doesn't really care about what they're doing and they're just going through the motion asks you for something, you would be less willing to want to help them out simply just because you know that they don't care. Like their character isn't there. But if someone who's dedicated, always showing up early to what they are doing, you're like, oh yeah, so I'd be more willing to help that guy out because I know he cares. Or even if he doesn't ask for anything, moreover, you'd be more willing to be like, hey, I should probably tell this guy that because I know he's someone who cares. So he's the most willing person to give this good information to, right? And I want you guys to get these benefits because it's not that showing up early directly will make you successful. Obviously, you still have to do the work and all these different things, right? But it can give you these three potential advantages that over time can go a long way for you in making progress on whatever goals you're trying to achieve. You can gather information when you're early, see everything around, and put yourself in an ideal situation. You can prep. When you are early, you have time to prepare, do extra reps or practices of whatever you need to do for wherever you're at, for whatever activity you're doing to achieve whatever goal you're trying to achieve. And last but not least, you can gain respect from people. People respect people who show up early. Why? Because it communicates dedication. It's reflective of your character. People like to help people who care. People like to help people who care. So show it by being early. But getting into the actual mental exercise after going over the advantages of being punctual, right? First, very important, plan, right? If you want to be early, you have to plan to be early. You can't just be saying, oh, I'm going to be an early person or someone who shows up early and you just never plan to show up early. Because if somebody tells you something's at 4:30 and you're not planning to show up at 3:30, whatever life is going to happen to you, right? When you wake up the next day, life is going to happen to you and you're just going to end up showing up to wherever you need to show up at 4:30, right? Because you didn't plan to show up at 3:30, right? So you need to make sure you are always planning to be an early person. That should always be in the plan. If somebody says be here at 4:30 p.m., to you that means be here at 3:30 p.m. If someone says, "Oh, come at 12," that really means okay, come at 11. If somebody says come at 11, that really means come at 10. If somebody says come at 8, that really means come at 7. It could be whatever time interval that you want it to be at. But the point is, it needs to be early. You need to always think in your mind when someone says this time, you think early every single time. Because if you plan this way and you act this way, what will happen? You will start to consistently show up early to whatever you do, for whatever activities you need to do to achieve whatever goals you're trying to achieve. So you plan, right? And then obviously consistency, right? Then consistency. You plan to be early and then you're consistently early. The reason why this will be very beneficial is because it will then become instinctive, which is what you want. You want to absorb being an early person. You just want to be an early person. For whatever thing you are doing to achieve whatever your goals are, you are always early. If obviously for my guys who you don't need someone to schedule you or for whatever goal you're trying to achieve, there's not like an exact time of something where you need to be somewhere. This doesn't apply to you. But whenever you do something that involves a time interval that is set with someone else, always be early. The minute you have to schedule something with another person, this punctuality thing immediately applies. You have to plan to show up early to whatever you have said. Even if you say, okay, we're going to meet here at 4:30, you show up at 3:30. You are always there first. And if somebody plans it for you, the same thing applies. You still always show up early. So always plan to show up early. In your days, for whatever you're scheduling, make sure you schedule for earliness. If someone says 4:30, you are there at 3:30. Also, once again, just to say, like I was saying earlier, you can augment it to however you want to put the earliness, but it should be significant. It should be significant. You should be showing up and nobody should be there yet. You should be the first person at everything. More or less, you should be the first person. That's how you know your earliness is where it needs to be. And I'm not saying you're doing this to impress other people. That's not what my point is. I just know from my own personal experience, more from an athletic perspective, because that's where I really got to see this punctuality thing like most. Because, when you're an athlete, you're in a team setting. there's a lot of other moving parts. So that earliness becomes very blatant and obvious to the people you're around. You know what I'm saying? But you're not just doing this for clout of just being early. This is purposeful. You want to actually gain an advantage to achieving your goals, right? And having people's respect is just happens to be one of those things, right? Because I want you guys to pull as many levers as possible to achieve whatever goals you want. That's why at the start of every video, I say I want you guys to be extremely successful, not successful, extremely, like as much as possible in your life, right? So cool. So you always want to make sure you plan being early and then you're consistently early. The reason why this is beautiful is because it will then become instinctive. Now, whenever you plan for whatever activities you need to do to achieve your goals, you are always planning to be early, and it's instinctive for you to be early because you've done it consistently. So going over it one last time, punctuality, the definition I came up with for it is always being early to anything that helps you achieve your goals. Any activity that you schedule with somebody else, always be early. The reason why is because you get the 3 potential benefits that I have personally seen. You can add more if you see more or let me know in the comments, but these are the ones that I just believe are there that I've seen. You gain more information about your environment, which can give you an advantage for whenever you need to start doing the activity because you know where things are. You can put yourself in a particular position to give yourself an advantage for whatever you're trying to do. Boom. Also prep, meaning you can like practice whatever thing you need to practice for that involves the activity of goal achievement that you're doing. You can practice whatever you need to practice real quick and get extra reps in before the thing actually starts because you'll be nice and warmed up and ready to perform immediately. And last but not least, you will gain the respect of others. People will now know that you are someone who's dedicated and who cares, and they'd be more willing to give you benefits to show that they care about the fact that you care, or they like the fact that you care, because people are willing to benefit the things that they like or do things for people that they like, right? Cool. So the way you want to do this, or the way you want to practice or conceptualize this mental exercise, or the actionable steps you want to do, is always plan to be early. So whenever you are scheduling or doing whatever you need to do for however you want to schedule your day, make sure you always plan to be early for whatever activities involve you achieving your goals. If somebody says 4:30 p.m., that in your mind goes to 3:30 p.m. If somebody says 11 a.m., that in your mind goes to 10 a.m. Whatever it is, always plan for earliness. Even if you're the one who makes the plan for the other people, you still be early. And then you just want to do this consistently. Why? Because if you do it consistently, it'll become instinctive and you'll just always be an early person and always have these 3 potential benefits, or plus more if you realize there are more. So yeah, that is pretty much my punctuality mental exercise. I really do hope this helps out a lot. So please give me feedback on this. Let me know if you liked it. You were like, this is really good. You explained this well. You talked about the actionable steps and the potential benefits really well. And I can really see the benefits of being a punctual person and how this can benefit me in the long term when it comes to me becoming successful and achieving all my goals. Or you could say, this was horrible. You should have explained it better. You should have added this there, or said this example. It would have made more sense for me if you did this, if you started flailing your arms. Whatever you have to say, drop it all down in the comments, because it all helps me become a better YouTuber and make better mental exercises that you guys can use to achieve and accomplish all the goals that you are after. And if you liked it, please, please, please like this video, boost us in the algorithm, so more guys can see this, and make sure they're being punctual so they can gain the potential benefits of being a punctual person that will lead, or ultimately lead to them becoming successful. And with all that being said, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next Mental Gym video. Peace.